ways they're correct, because who else is going to resist them? It's going to be the veterans. It's going to be the patriots. It's going to be the awakened, especially the awakened veteran is who they're worried about, and for good reason. Because, as I said from the very beginning, we are a threat to their plans. We're just not a threat to the American people. I think their propaganda war against us among the population is not going to work. And I also think that even if they brainwash all of these, perfume princess officers, that's not going to help them either. Because you can ask any Vietnam veteran what happens to an officer who betrays his men. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But these officers need to wake up and smell the coffee that their NCOs, their gunnery sergeants, those are the real backbone of the U.S. military. Those are the combat leaders for the troops. And the most, there are some good officers, but for the ones who have sold themselves down the river and sold themselves out to the devil, like Colonel Benson there, they don't know what they're messing with, because the troops are not going to follow their orders. There's going to be a serious dissension in the ranks, and they can give all the orders they want to, but let's see them enforce them.
Well, I learned, again, 15 years ago when my first film came out, America Destroyed by Design, that Marines, is where it first started, were handing them out at bases, and then they would get in trouble and have to run for it or get extra duty. But then everybody wanted to see what was banned. And so when they say don't go to oathkeepers.org, as you know they do in the military, or don't go to Infowars.com, that has the opposite effect. They tune in, they hear common sense. I mean, it's incredible how much the military listens just to my show alone.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I think it's going to backfire on them. We were originally going to go and do base tours where we would have speeches, but we decided against that. And the reason is we don't want to have a gathering where we invite them to go to the gathering and then all the license plates get taken down. We don't want to do that. So what we're going to do instead is put billboards outside the base and then have guys, volunteers standing outside the base handing out free DVDs and flash drives and written materials, so that they can't purge people. They're not going to have a good list of who went to the meeting. So we're going to be very careful about that.
Well, I think if you present it right with just the truth straight up on the table, hey, two sides, here it is. If you just lay it out, because people always kind of, I like the fact you just lay it out. A lot of people kind of, oh, let me tell you, no. It's like, boom, we're in the right. Look at the facts. You choose a side right now. We're not playing games.
Exactly.
We don't have time. I think your earlier idea might have been good, or do both. I say, hey, step across the line like Colonel Travis. You're being told you're going to fight the Tea Party, that the foreign government and NATO orders our military around now, and it's your First Amendment right to come hear a speech. And I think you'd have so many come to it, especially if they try to stop them, that people would freak out when half the base showed up. Purge half of them. Our numbers are so great, it's time to start showing them.
Yeah, it's a good question. We've heard from inside of the NSA. One of our guys is retired Special Forces. He's got a buddy inside the NSA who contacted him and said that they're concerned about what they call the Oath Keeper effect. And what he said is that they can't quantify it. They don't know how big it is. And so they can't game it. That's one of the things that's kind of giving them fits. And so we just don't want to help them. We don't want to help them be able to game it. We don't want to
You don't want to give them intelligence.
Right. We don't want to help them identify, because it's kind of like an iceberg. There's that visible tip, but then there's that big mass underneath that's not quantifiable. And so there are a lot of guys who are smart enough, especially in special warfare, who have contacted us and said, look, I agree with what you guys are doing, but you won't find me on your website. I don't need to go there. I'll take care of business within my own unit. And they're just staying off the web, so they can't be tracked and they can't be purged, because a purge does happen. That's the first thing Stalin did, first thing Hitler did. You mentioned Night of the Long Knives. That's what that was. That was a purge. That was him getting rid of the guys who were, a lot of the SSA didn't like what he was doing, because they were kind of fooled into supporting him initially, what they thought were good ends, and then he started doing stuff they didn't like, like arresting other Germans, and that's why he had to purge them. So we're really careful about that. That's why I'm leaning towards just putting out the information, giving it to everybody who goes to the gate, and if they order them not to accept it, then that's only going to backfire. Then guys are going to want to go to the Oath Keepers and see what's going on.
All right, Stuart Rhodes. Look forward to your speech, seeing that online there at Paul Fest, oathkeepers.org. Amazing interview. It is a victory, though, that so quickly it made national news, that from the grassroots forcing it out there, that Brandon Robb had been grabbed. And the fact that, the judge ruled against him. Again, we have to force all those battles. And people tend to think as the fight keeps going that, oh, we're being worn out. No, we're getting stronger. We need, like you said, welcome it. Use all of their evil against them. Don't like, oh, they're going to come get me. step into history, realize there is no future if we don't beat these people. That's the liberating thing, is to realize, folks, these are the nastiest, sickest, control freak, anti-family, scum, devilish people you can imagine. People say, oh, we have courage to stand up against them. It's not courage. It's a default position when a bunch of foreign banks want to gut your country, to stand up against them. I mean, I don't understand people that are afraid to stand up against this. This is history happening right now.
Yep. Yeah. Embrace the suck. Step up. And, you know, we're all going to die anyway. Just might as well live like men. Stand up.
All right, Stuart Rhodes, thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
All right. God bless, Alex.
All right, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that was a powerful interview.